A major complication. You each have a child who has the same father. Yes. Leads to a violent confrontation. I said, Zuri, why are you at my house at 1 in the morning? She's like, I need to speak to Gary. She's extremely intoxicated. Then she reaches under Gary and grabs my hair and pulls me into the hallway. And then that's when we start to fight. There are pictures here of a broken windshield. Honestly, I have no idea what she's talking about. Judge Judy, you are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Lisa Johnson is suing the mother of her boyfriend's child. 24-year-old Azuri Page for assault and vandalism to her car. Order. All rise. This is case number 132 on the calendar. Madam Johnson versus Page. Thank you. You're welcome. Judge, parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat. Please. Miss Johnson, you and Ms. Page are connected because you each have a child who has the same father. Yes. Would that be you? Yes. And it is your claim that the defendant came to the house. You live together. No. Well, as of now. Yes. As of back when the case happened. Yeah. We did live together. And while you were living together, it is your claim that the defendant came over one evening, assaulted you and vandalized your car. Yes. The defendant denies she was even in town on the night that she's alleging that this happened. She has a counterclaim. She says that you've been harassing her. She believes that you somehow vandalized her car with some foreign object in her gas tank. She's got a counterclaim. Okay. When did this incident happen? On May 5th. Of this year? Yes. What time? It was about 12:30. Between 12:30 and 1 a.m. So tell me what happened. Okay. Your Honor, on the night of May 5th, me and Gary were celebrating Cinco de Mayo. We had some margaritas and tacos. And then we were going to call it a night around 12:30. Gary goes to bed, and his phone just starts to ring right before I lay down. And it's an unknown call constantly coming in. So eventually I answer, and it was how many times did it ring? Probably about 5 missed calls. Okay. And so finally I pick up, and it's Zuri on the other line. And she's like, where's Gary? And I said, now, do you know her? Had you met her before? Yes. How many times? We've known each other for over 3 years. So you knew her voice. Or she identified herself. Exactly. Yes. What did she say? She said, where's Gary? I said, he's asleep. She said, he's been at my house for 3 nights. And I said, well, that's impossible because he's been home. So she's like, well, where is he? I said, he's asleep. She said, wake him up. So then I wake Gary up. And I hand Gary the phone. And he's like, this is a joke. Just hang up. So right before I hang up, she says, open the door. Right before we opened the door, it was a knock maybe 5 seconds later. So Gary runs to the door and looks in the peephole, and he can't make out who it is. She's, like, leaning on the door. So then I look in the peephole, and I said, Gary, this is Azuri. And Gary's like, is it? So he looks back in the peephole, and then I yell, we didn't open the door yet. I say, Zuri, why are you at my house at 1 in the morning? She's like, I need to speak to Gary. I said, okay. So then Gary's like, well, what do you want? So immediately, I call the police. And I said, I need a police officer dispatched to my location. So Gary goes and opens the door. And she's extremely intoxicated. She's like, I need you to come to my truck. And Gary says, why? I'm standing behind Gary. Gary has his hands on the side of the door. I'm standing behind him. And she's like, well, I need to speak to you. I need you to come to my truck. So then Gary's like, well, what do you need? Then she calls me a drunk and just starts, like, talking crazy and calling me names and says I'm scary. And then we started arguing. I'm still in the back of Gary. So then she reaches under Gary and grabs my hair and pulls me into the hallway. And then that's when we start to fight. I have pictures of bruises, scratches, and everything from that night. I'd like to see them. Please. I'd also like to the police ever respond. Yes, they did. Great. I'd like to see the police report. Thank you. There's also pictures in there of the broken window as well. I see the window. We haven't gotten to the window yet. Okay, now, there are pictures here of a broken windshield. Yes, and the police report is clear that after the police came to discuss what happened to you, you were sort of reluctant to speak to them and a little, according to the report, a little intoxicated yourself. Yes, a sergeant also responded to the location, and it was the sergeant who observed the broken windshield on the car, and they identified the car as belonging to you. Yes, they went back upstairs to speak to you. At that time, since you believed she had broken your windshield, then you said, well, that's enough. I want to press charges. So that's how we're here. Exactly. Is that correct? Yes. Ma'am? That's what I get from reading this report. Okay. What time had you parked your car that evening? I would say about 6 p.m. Might. Now. You told me before that you and Gary were living together at the time. Yes. That's not what it says in here. Yeah. Gary was living with me on and off around that time. Now it is. So Gary was living with you on and off. Yes. Lisa. That would be you. Right? Yes. Lisa said that Gary, her child's father, was only there to watch their child. Lisa and Gary were no longer in a dating relationship. Nor was blank and blank, which I assume her and somebody else said that even though that they had problems in the past, they had not seen or spoken to one another in quite some time. Lisa claimed to have no idea why the defendant and her friend arrived at the door. Now, you didn't tell me about a friend. I was getting to that part. So right after we started fighting, Gary pulls us apart. Her friend runs in out of, I guess it was someone she was riding with in the truck. She runs in and pulls me back. Gary pulls Azuri back. And they stop the fight. Azuri then snatches away from Gary and runs out the front door into the back of the parking lot. Her friend then leaves out the back door to the parking lot where they were parked at. I went back in the house right after. And that's when I would say, maybe literally 2 minutes later, the police showed up. The police asked me what was going on, and I told them that it was an altercation. I got what you wrote, what you said to them. I read the report. Okay, Ms. Page, balls in your court? Honestly, I have no idea what she's talking about. Okay. I was out of town that week at my mom's. I wasn't even there. I have not spoken to Gary. To her, I do not associate myself with them whatsoever. And this has been going on for 3 years. Moo. Johnson has followed me to 3 different jobs. No. We're talking about something. Ms. Page, entirely different. Following you 3 jobs. If your testimony is, I was out of town at my mother's house, then you have nothing to add to your testimony. Then I have to make a decision as to whether or not I believe her or believe you. Do you have any witnesses to testify that you were out of town that evening? Yes. My fiance dropped me off to my mom's. Great. That would be your witness. And you have a witness what happened that night? Yes. You have Gary? Yes. Ma'am. I don't actually have to hear either one of them. I just have to make a judgment as to whether Miss Johnson caused little marks on her face and whether Ms. Johnson took a rock or something and busted out the windshield of her own car that night and then decided to blame it on you. I have to decide whether that happened. I don't think that happened, so I'm quite sure that your fiancé would say that he dropped you off at your mother's house. And I'm quite sure that Gary would say you came to the house and there was a fight. Do you have an estimate for the windshield? Yes. Ma'am. Did you have it fixed? No, ma'am. It's still not fixed. Where is it? It's at home. I've been riding with it with a plastic on my window, which is, yeah, it's really hard because I have to have my son sit in that back seat. Okay, that's $330. Now, I assume that you did not seek any sort of medical treatment that night. No, ma'am. It was just scratches and bruises. Well, I see the photographs and it does look like there was quite a fight. Yeah, precipitated by your arriving that night, either drunk or sober. I was not drunk. How old is your child with Gary? Mina. She's 3. And yours? 2. Do you have a boy or a girl? I have a boy. Does Gary see your daughter often? No, he's not allowed to. He was court-ordered not to be left alone with any children. He was found unfit. By what court? Champaign County. Is that correct? That's what she said. What does that mean? I'm saying that's what she said. She don't got no paperwork saying, I can't be around my kids. Are you around your son? Yep, every day. Well, evidently it doesn't apply to that child. I have no idea. When was the last time he saw his daughter? I actually have no idea. The only time he's allowed to see her is when my daughter is at his stepmom's house. And then he sees her over there when he goes, so your daughter does go to his family's house. His stepmom's? Yes. How often? Maybe once every other week. And she'll probably keep her for a couple of days to spend time with her. And so he is permitted to see her there. Yes, he has to be supervised. Okay, so he's not permitted around other children. He has supervised visitation with his daughter for whatever reason. I don't know what the reason is. There are all kinds of reasons, both valid and stupid, for making those kinds of orders. I'm thoroughly familiar with both the valid ones and the stupid ones, and that has nothing to do with you. I'm talking about judges making orders for good reason and orders for stupid reasons. It seems to me if you're not capable of having unsupervised visitation with a 3-year-old, you shouldn't be capable of spending time every day with a 2-year-old. So clearly this had more to do with you than with a child. To me, in my head. But that's only me in my head. Anyway, you owe her $1. Faint, you owe her $300 to fix her car. And the rest is for coming to the house in the middle of the night and picking a fight and assaulting her. That was not me here. We are done here. You count the claims dismissed. Why does our excuse when they step out? Stop going to people's houses trying to fight them. It is so crazy because I didn't do it. I wasn't even there. Stop getting extremely intoxicated and not know what's going on. She has no proof, no evidence. Just move along with your life. It's ridiculous. Gary, maybe she wants Gary back. I don't know what it's about. I don't talk to him. He doesn't have my phone number. I guess it is. I just got it. Gary has so many girlfriends. It could have been any one of them. You and Gary are done. Let it go. And now, the next case. All parties in the matter of Smith versus Brooks. Step forward. 18-year-old Courtney Smith is suing her ex-boyfriend, 19-year-old Brandon Brooks, for the return of a car, an unpaid loan, and unpaid rent and utilities. How old are you? Ms. Smith, I'm 18, Your Honor. And you, Mr. Brooks, 19. It is your claim that the defendant who used to be your boyfriend is not your boyfriend anymore, despite the fact that you are currently, according to what you wrote here, pregnant, now back living with your parents, I assume. That's correct. You were living with him for a while. How old were you when the two of you started to live together? Desnint, Your Honor, where were you living? At his grandmother's house? With your mother's permission? No. So you left home? Yes. He convinced me to run away. Don't tell me what he convinced you. Don't tell me what he convinced you. He didn't convince any 17-year-old girl anything if she didn't want to go. He doesn't look like any Svengali to me. Judge Judy continues in a moment. Do you have the same text messages about the money for the other car? I don't have text messages, but I do have proof that the car is now legally registered in my name. And his name is no longer on the title. Oh, how did you do that? Real cases. Real people. Judge Judy. Courtney Smith says ex-boyfriend Brandon Brooks owes for a car, a loan, and rent and bills. So you went to live at his grandmother's house with him. And then his grandmother kicked us out. His grandmother kicked you out. Yes. What's the reason for that? Mr. Brooks. We didn't get along after a while. Who didn't get along? My grandma. We were just always constantly fighting. Okay. So after you left your grandmother, where did you go? We got a place with a couple friend of ours, and we were renting a room from them. So a couple had an apartment, and they let you rent a room. Now, what were you doing to support yourself during this time? I had a job, and he did not. Tell me what your job was. I was currently working at Bed Bath & Beyond at the time, so I was working at least 25 hours a week, and I was able to support myself. Okay, so you were working part-time at Bed Bath & Beyond. Were you going to school? Yes, I was. And what were you doing? I was selling cars on the side. How many cars did you sell on the side when we were together? Maybe about 8 or 9. Did you make any money? Yes. Okay. This case has 2 parts. 1. You claim that you made a loan to Mr. Brooks. That's correct. Okay. Now I want you to tell me when you made the loan and how much. I made the loan in about October, the end of October, for an Audi for $700. And just a minute, end of October of 2015. You gave him $700. Yes. Where did you get the $700 from? I had received $300 for graduating high school in cash. So I had it in cash at the time. Just a second. $1, $300 from whom? From family, my grandmother, my parents, aunts, uncles. So altogether, they gave you $1, $300? Yes. And you gave $700 of that to Mr. Brooks to buy a car. Yes. How much was the car? That was not true. It ended up like that. We didn't buy the Audi first. That was like the 5th car we bought. Okay. We bought a Subaru for the very first time, and it was only $300. I'm talking about the $700 she said she gave you. Did she give you $700? Did you buy an Audi? Yes, we did. When you say we, how much did you pay for the Audi? We paid $500. From whom? A person off Breakless. Did you pick up the car? The Audi? Yes. Okay. Where did you get the $500 from? From a recent car we resold. So you would flip cars? Yes. How much was the rent in the room? The rent was, we paid half of it was $400. Did you pay any of the rent? Yes. From flipping cars? Yes. Did you also go to school? I did not at the time. So you didn't graduate from high school? No. So you were just flipping cars? Mm-hmm. And you certainly weren't paying the $400 a month rent and putting away a lot of money working 25 hours a week at Big Bath and Beyond. Okay. Now, do you have any proof that you gave him this money? Whether it be $500 or $700, do you have any proof of that? I have acknowledgments through text message and through Facebook of him saying that he knows he owes me the $700. Fine. I'd like to see it. Judge Judy continues in a moment. You have a title that says it's yours. Yes. And you have a title that says it's yours. Yes. Right. Right. Go bang your heads against the wall. Because motor vehicles will figure out very quickly that you got the title by committing perjury when you filled out forms. Real cases. Real people. Judge Judy, Courtney Smith says ex-boyfriend Brandon Brooks owes for a car, a loan, and rent and bills. Okay, so it's clear, based upon this, that this was the disagreement. She gave you $700 to buy the Audi, and you were together at the time, and the idea was you would sell the Audi, as you had been doing, flipping the cars. And what she wanted was she wanted her money back. The $700 and half the profit that you got from selling the Audi, that was what you were arguing with him about. So you mean, if you sell the Audi for $2, I only get $700. That's not fair. I also want half the profit. That's what you were complaining about. But what you said to her twice was, you'll get back your $700. The rest is going to my grandpa. Got it. $700? Now, the other part of your lawsuit has to do with a car that you say was purchased for you. That's correct. With whose money? My money, Your Honor. What car? And for what amount of money? The car would be the 2004 Hyundai Elantra that he found and repurchased. I purchased it. I paid for the smog and the registration as well. No, smog and registration. I actually got that you paid for smog and registration. The car is registered in his name. Let's be very clear. I want you to tell me who paid for that car. I paid for the car. Your Honor, is that correct? No, I didn't think so. How much was the car? $500. Who did you buy it from? My friend. When? In October. And whose name is the car? Mine. Was it your intention to fix up that car for her to drive? It was for both of us to drive. Do you have any proof that you paid for that car? I have a bank statement showing a withdrawal for $320. Not interested. Not on the time. Not interested. Okay. Not interested in a bank withdrawal that I don't know what it's for. Do you have any other proof? You had certainly text messages from him with regard to the $700 that you claim. And this is after the relationship is terminated. You say, this is what you wrote to him. When am I going to get my $700? So where do you have the same text messages about the money for the other car? I don't have text messages, but I do have proof that the car is now legally registered in my name. And his name is no longer on the title. Oh, how did you do that? Because when we had the car, he reported it stolen. Neither one of us were legally registered owners of the vehicle. Oh, then I don't have to deal with it. Listen to me. Then I don't have to deal with it. Now, if you are the registered owner of the vehicle, you're the registered owner of the vehicle, and you get your $700 back, which was clearly money that you anticipated getting, and which he guaranteed you in these emails that you were going to get. But if you're the registered owner of the car, good for you. Well, the $700 and the Hyundai are two different cars. I understand that, but whatever you did in order to get the Hyundai, which is what you wanted, has nothing to do with me. So if you each have a title that says it's yours, you have a title that says it's yours. Yes. And you have a title that says it's yours. Right? Go bang your heads against the wall. Go bang your heads against the wall. Because motor vehicles will figure out very quickly that you got the title by committing perjury when you filled out forms. They'll figure that out in a minute. I don't have to get involved with it. All I have to do is say, judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $700. We're done. Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next, Judge Judy, I ended it because there's so much fighting. The child may not be his. We went to court once trying to say that kid isn't mine. I'm saying it to be truthful. But I have over 40 different messages from different people saying it's mine. It's all going to be done through family court. And that's the problem we're having so far. To be honest, I hope I never have to see him again in my life.